Hello everyone, Loremaster of Sotek here, and there's a new DLC, which means, as has been the case for many years, it's time to check out the changes to the map. Something that is a nice time-honored tradition here, and I know a lot of people have been looking forward to, and I've been getting a lot of messages of people asking, where's the landmarks? So let's go ahead and dive into it. We've got our handy-dandy toggle fog of war here, so we're going to click that, and here is the new Darklands. So we're going to start by kind of going around and checking out all of the little changes to the map, and then from there we will start hitting up landmarks. So welcome to the new Darklands. As you can see, they're all gnarly and gross now. There is lots and lots of skulls to be found in Zorn-Uzkul, the Great Skull Land, which of course is around the Great Skull Lakes. Got boiling oil magma popping through. There are random great Tauruses hanging out over there. You of course got Chaos Dwarf architecture showing up in a lot of places along these falls. Something a lot of people have asked about, which is very, very cool, is the new Sea Lane. So this is exclusive to Immortal Empires. It does not exist on the Realm of Chaos map, which I will show you a little later. But there is the Uzkalak Canal. So the Uzkalak Canal takes you 2 turns to journey, unless of course you're one of the seafaring races, in which case you could do a little faster. And it basically takes you all the way up the river, down past, or kind of underneath Zorn-Uzkul, down past the Falls of Doom, past Zarnagrund, where the River Ruin goes from being nice and blue and pure to gross and oily and green and sludgy as it gets processed through the forges of Zarnagrund, and it pops you out right here, just beneath this little dam. So this is where it pops out on the River Ruin. So this is a sailable river, just like the rivers in Grand Cathay and the Empire. And this river leads you all the way down past the crossing which leads to the Sentinels and the Black Fortress, as well as the Valley of Horns. Down till you arrive near Pigbarter and out the mouth of Ruin, which has so much gross oil and contamination that the ocean is on fire, and you finally arrive in the Sea of Storms, where Kugoth Plaguefather is waiting. So that is the new sea lane for those curious. You can see the Darklands are pretty impressive looking. Zarnagrund itself is beautiful in kind of a horrific way. You can see all of the different mine workings and stuff, along with the Veil of Woe. You have all this Hashut architecture and the open pits deep into the earth, lava everywhere, great terrifying towers. Everything's just very impressive and spooky looking. Got like the Great Temple to Hashut over here. You got the Falls of Doom back over here pouring down. You know, lots of different mineable looking materials. But you've got a real big open hole here by Howling Rock. These just torn open expanses with these cranes moving around. You see minecarts doing things. More open pits. It's just a mess down here. The Gates of Zar. You see the Chaos Corruption looks really cool. A lot of rents open in the earth. Different various oil drills. I've actually seen these things out in West Texas. But, you know, gears, things pumping materials out of the ground. A lot of weird bubbling things and fire effects. Over here, you got the Tower of Gorgoth. So here's the Tower of Gorgoth itself proper, sticking out of the top of over by the Wolflands here. Nice and messy looking. And then, of course, down a little further, you have the Black Fortress settlement, which gets nice and big by the end. Though you could probably argue that this right here is actually the Black Fortress itself. Got like a little fan or something. Got a Lamassu hanging out. Lots of big bones and skulls and lava and fire, and then you've got oil, you know, acid pools of who knows what. So yeah, that's the new Darklands. It's nice and nasty looking. Lots of chaos corruption, turns it all black and messed up. But that is pretty much what you're dealing with. Other than that, I have not really found any changes to the map. Everything has been pretty contained to the Darklands itself. And you got Pigbarter Ruins in over here. Fortress of Vorag still connects to these two. Bitter Bay still connects to Nagashazar. When you head up here, you've got Darkhold, Black Fortress, and the Sentinels. Crookback Mountain still connects up into Mount Silverspear and Mount Greyhag. Tower of Gorgoth connects to the Gates of Zar and the Demon's Stump. So there might have been some like small rearranges, which is why I'm just kind of slowly going through here. You've got the Silver Pinnacle, which connects down to the Blast Expanse, Desolation of Drakengor, and Howling Rock. Zar Nagrad is probably the most serious change as far as like aesthetically, but I believe it has the same number of regions with the Veil of Woe and the Falls of Doom. And then up here on Zorn Uskul, you have Uskalak, the Great Skull Lakes, and Fort Dornzidvort, and Lamasu flying by my screen. But yeah, so there you go. I don't believe there's really been any other changes out in the rest of the world. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the new landmarks. So one of the new features that is super duper nice, especially for what I'm doing right now, is that when you see a landmark building, you no longer have to take the settlement and see what it is. Instead, all you have to do is mouse over the landmark, wait for that little bar to fill, and then you can see it here. So Ironstorm, up north of Cathay, up in the Chaos Waste, has the War Machine Graveyard. So the War Machine Graveyard says, where old iron demons, hell cannons, and their like finally come to die. And this gives you plus 50% healing cap for all war machines and all armies, minus 5% upkeep for artillery war machines, and then 50 armaments per turn. The healing cap is a little weird. I can't really ever imagine a situation where you're gonna get your war machines to their healing cap, because I don't recall a way to give them consistent regeneration. The only regeneration I recall being able to give them is the reforge form of regeneration, which is an active ability on your demon smiths. But if I recall correctly, the demon smiths do not actually they don't have unlimited casts of it. I think they can only do it like twice per battle. So, but yeah, I'll have to double check that, which we'll do that here in a minute. But the armaments and upkeep reduction alone make the building worth it. A little further south, in Grand Cathay itself, in the capital of Nangal, there is the level 5 building, the Repurposed Forges, where once the mighty sentinels of Cathay were built and raised, far more nefarious deeds now take place. This gives you 100 armaments per turn, which is incredible, minus 10% upkeep for all Chaos Dwarf gun units, and plus 2 recruitment ranks for all Chaos Dwarf gun units. So those are going to be your blunderbusses and your fire glaives, which is very, very awesome. Up with Satan the Black, he actually starts being a character who's very, very good with hobgoblins. He has the Tomb of Genghis Khan. And the Tomb of Genghis Khan says this is where the near mythical founder of the Hobgoblin Empire is buried, and where a multitude of pilgrims flock each year, braving the perilous journey. Minus 15% upkeep for all Hobgoblin units, minus 30% recruitment for all Hobgoblin units, and plus 3 recruitment rank for all Hobgoblin units. So absolutely badass building, and it's only tier 3 as well, which is very, very nice. An excellent building is a definite take. The next place we'll be looking is down in the Darklands proper. So starting with Astragoth. So Astragoth has access to the following. So you have the Great Drill, which has a couple of different, it has 3 forms, which is why I'm actually going in here. So first, it gives you 500 income generated per turn, 100 raw materials per turn, though you do need the workload to actually dig it out, 10 armaments per turn, and allows you to recruit Chaos Dwarf warriors without needing to build the actual warrior building. Then the next level gives you 200 raw materials per turn and only requires 150 workload and gives you 20 armaments per turn on top of that. And then the tier 4 version gives you 500 raw materials per turn and 50 armaments, though you do need the 300 workload for the raw materials. So pretty solid building overall, very good. You get this regardless of what Chaos Dwarf character you're playing. Whoever you play, whether it's Astragoth, Zatan, or Drazoeth, you get access to the drill in your capital city. So it's there no matter what. The other building you have access to is the Ancient Inner City, which says Uzkalak, the ancient seat of the Eastern Dwarfs, is a strange secretive place, yet little more than a heavily garrisoned tomb. This allows you to recruit Bull Centaur Tadruks in all provinces, +2 recruitment ranks for them, and -10% upkeep for all Bull Centaur units, and adds 2 Bull Centaur renders with great weapons to the garrison. Very, very solid building. It is tier 4, but, you know, that's solid, provides a lot of different goodies. Next, we turn our attention down to the capital itself, Zarnagrund. So Zarnagrund has a tier 5 building called the Great Temple of Hashut. Atop the Great Tower, Mingol Zarnagrund, sits the Great Temple of Hashut, into which is poured all the Chaos Dwarfs' ingenuity, cruelty, and devotion. To them, no location is more sacred. This thing is, like, game-changing if you get your hands on it. 25 conclave influence per turn, which is incredible. 500 income per turn, 5 winds of magic per turn. +5 to your power reserve capacity, which is even better. +10 diplomacy with all Chaos Dwarfs, +5% experience gain for all characters, +10% additional research rate, and +5 undivided corruption to the local province. Awesome, kick-ass building. Heading a little further south, we have the Demon Stump, where we have the Bloodthirster Prison. On the right bank of the River Ruin, an immense pillar of rock juts forth, holding captive the Bloodthirster Baltor and preventing his escape. This unlocks Demonsmith Sorcerers faction-wide, gives you +5 power Winds of Magic power reserve capacity faction-wide, and +2 recruitment rank for Demonsmith Sorcerers in all provinces. Incredible building. You know, even more magic, and of course, all the Demonsmith boys. And then the last kind of that trio, where you have the Tarok buff building is in Uzkalak, the Demonsmith buff building is then the Demon Stump. The final one is, of course, within the Black Fortress, which is the Infernal Castellan building, being the Infernal Barracks. This is where the Legion of Osgore eat, sleep, and await the call to war. Gives you the ability to recruit Infernal Castellans from all provinces, regardless of your buildings, +2 recruitment rank for all Infernal Castellans, and -10% upkeep reduction for all Infernal Guard, which is quite excellent. Up here, we have the Sentinels, which have a very, very solid building, Karum. So Karum is many foreign merchants have a permanent warehouse base here, enabling the locals to easily source a wide range of trade goods from nearby regions, which gives you +10% maximum cargo capacity for your convoys, so you can send bigger convoys to get bigger rewards, and you also get +50% additional income from trade tariffs, which is nice. Over in Flayed Rock, we have Flayed Tower, which says the Tower of Flayed Rock has seen many, many, many awful things, as its name suggests. This gives you +1 control faction-wide and an additional +2 control in all adjacent provinces to Flayed Rock, which is a decent number, so it can give you, you know, pretty solid amount of additional control, which is never a bad thing. Down further to the south, we have down in Bitter Bay, a new landmark that also exists for the High Elves, which is Anural's Tomb. Unfortunately, it is not showing what it does, but that's okay. I actually have a picture that I can dig up. It gives you 5. It says the monolith beneath which the fabled elven explorer Anural said to be entombed also contains a navigation stone of untold value. This grants 5% campaign movement range to all armies, 50 raw materials per turn, and -50% casualties suffered from high seas attrition faction-wide. So there you go. I don't know why that one's bugged. Up in the Bone Gulch, we have the Graves of the Dragons. This abundance of mounds of which grants, from which grants giant bones protrude as evidence that many great dragons met their end in this desert-bound burial ground. This gives you 5% reduced upkeep for Lamasu, Great Taurus, and Bale Taurus units, 10% physical resistance for all Taurus units, being the Great Taurus and the Bale Taurus, and then +2 uses of the Fire Breath ability for all Bale Taurus units, including your characters, which is very, very nice. Meanwhile, further north, we have the Tower of Gorgoth, which gives you volcanic deposits. The mining colony set up around the imposing Tower of Gorgoth harvests mineral deposits found both above and below its ash-blasted surface. This gives you 300 gold per turn and 400 additional raw materials per turn as long as you have a workload of 250, which is very, very solid. Meanwhile, kind of turning our attentions to the mountains, we go to Karakadrin, which has the only Chaos Dwarf unique building involving the Dwarfs. which is the defaced shrine that says, "Ha! The place where Grimnir abandoned us. I shall give him something to remember me by, the traitorous swine." Gives minus 20 diplomacy with all dwarfs, plus 5 chaos undivided corruption, and the death blow ability for all Infernal Guard and Infernal Ironsworn, which gives them additional damage when they're at 20% health or less. So it functionally kind of makes them into Slayers, which is absolutely terrifying. If we go a little further south, you'll notice there aren't any really like massive ones that stick out. I did comb over the entire planet, though I may have missed a few, though I'm pretty sure I got them all. The Chaos Dwarfs do not have access to a lot of the generic ones, so they like have nothing in the Black Pyramid of Nagash, for instance. However, if we turn our attention much further south, we will find the Fortress of Dawn, which has Dawn's Harbor. This basic pier is now used by the Chaos Dwarfs to load their armaments and laborers for shipping abroad. This one is actually pretty not bad by any means. It's a tier 1 structure that gives you 200 income per turn and plus 1% labor gained faction wide. Which, yeah, sure, it's only 1%, but hey, any bit helps, right? Turning our attention back through Grand Cathay, I don't believe there's anything here really of note. So that leads us on to our next target, which is the Empire. So zooming around the mountains and Athel Loren and the like, we end up in Nuln, which Nuln has the Cannon Foundry. This is the largest foundry this side of the Empire, where the Empire casts the mightiest of its many big guns. The manling's work is poor and meaningless in comparison, of course. This gives you 100 armaments per turn, plus 2 recruitment ranks for all artillery and war machines faction wide, and minus 25% recruitment cost for artillery and war machines faction wide. So that is going to be the only landmark you're going to find for the Empire. There's really nothing of note in Kislev or in Norska, for that matter. There's also not really a lot left in the Chaos Wastes for you. However, if we turn our attention down to Nagaroth, we arrive in the slave city itself, Karankar, which has laborer pens. It says it's important to keep the disgusting green gits away from the rest of us. This gives you plus 15% laborers gained post-battle, which is incredible, plus 10% casualties captured post-battle, amazing, and minus 10% cost on rush construction labor. This is a fantastic landmark building. That is the only one in Nagaroth, so now we need to venture further south. Not a lot lies for us in Ulthuan. However, if we turn our attention over to Bretonia, we do find this in Bordello, which is a little strange. You do, of course, have the Bordello port, which gives you the typical buffs. But there's also the Mokro Valley Orchards, which is interesting. It kind of feels like a bug, to be honest, because Chaos Dwarfs do not use growth. So this building's kind of useless. The wine's nice, I guess. Looking around a bit, we turn our attention to Skaven Blight, where you have the only Skaven-themed building for the Chaos Dwarfs, which are the Warp Forges. Mixing powdered warpstone with steel during the forging process creates weapons of wicked cutting prowess. Minus 50% recruitment cost for artillery and war machines, another minus 10% upkeep reduction for artillery and war machines, and 100 armaments per turn. Man, if you get this, Nuln, and Ironstorm, you can have some absolutely hilariously cheap war machines. Searching up through here, nothing really else of interest that draws attention. Head down into the Southlands. Of course, you do have the port and coffer. Fiddle. So here you see, you know, typical thing. Once again, it's a little bit of a generic building because it hanged on to the growth, which is not super useful. You do still have the Great Desert of Araby. Though, for the Chaos Dwarfs, theirs is a little different. This leafy, fertile watering hole is the ideal place for the Chaos Dwarf convoys to break their long journeys. 100 income per turn, another plus 5% maximum convoy cargo capacity, plus 3 control, and plus 5% casualty replenishment rate. So, you know, not crazy amazing, but anything to make your convoys bigger, right? Nothing in Karak Zorn. I don't believe there's anything else in the Southlands other than the 2 we've already seen. Nothing in the Southern Chaos Wastes of interest. I am just double checking to make sure I didn't miss anything, but I'm pretty sure I didn't miss anything. And I don't believe there's anything in Lustria. Even the capital of Itza does not offer its typical generic structure. Just double checking. Yeah, I don't think there's anything of interest for the Chaos Dwarfs here. Perhaps in Hexawaddle? No. Nothing in Skeggy or Port Reaver. Nope. Yep. I think that's everything. All right. So that is all of the unique buildings. Oh, I didn't realize there were things flashing by. That is all of the new landmark buildings for the Chaos Dwarfs. So now I'm going to, there's going to be a very brief break. Well, you're just going to fade to black, and I'm going to show you the only other unique thing I have found. See you in a second. Hello there. Welcome back. This time we're with Grimgor Ironhide because there are 2 buildings I want to show you. First, Zarnagrund. Unfortunately, Zarnagrund is not as fancy as I would have liked it to have been for some of the other races. The Dwarfs do not have any unique landmark buildings involving the Chaos Force. They don't have any new landmark buildings at all, I should say. Everybody in the game that I've messed around with, so pretty much every faction has access to this, which is the Great Temple of Hashut Desecrated. So if you manage to successfully take Zarnagrund away from the Chaos Dwarves, build up to tier 5, you can build this building, which gives you 500 gold per turn, plus 5 to your Winds of Magic power reserve capacity, plus 5% character experience for all characters, and 10% research rate, and it gives you minus 50 diplomacy with the Chaos Dwarf, because they're very upset with you. Unfortunately, the Dwarf version is not any more exciting. It even gives you the plus 5 capacity to your Winds of Magic, which is kind of a bummer. I hope they at least change it at some point to make it where instead of Winds of Power Magic, because that's useless to the Dwarfs, maybe they could make it where like your Rune Magic has shorter cooldowns, or maybe it could just give you a lot of Oath Gold. I think a lot of Oath Gold would be very appropriate. However, there is one other unique building which the Greenskins have access to, and that's this. This is their fancy new building, the Tomb of Genghis Khan. So this is the Hobgoblin building, but the Greenskins smashed down Genghis Khan's statue and put a big old thing of Mork up there, or possibly Gork, but it's probably Mork, to tell the Chaos Dwarfs off. And it gives you plus 5 armor piercing damage for all units versus all Chaos Dwarfs. So it's literally just the big FU bird flip to the Chaos Dwarfs. But it does also give you minus 15% upkeep for all Goblin units, faction-wide. And that's it. That is all of the new buildings. So there are quite a few for the Chaos Dwarfs. They actually have a very impressive amount of landmarks. For a new race, I think they actually have more than pretty sure they have more than the Vampire Coast did, at the very least. Definitely more than the Ogres. More than Norska, I think more than the Tomb Kings, though the Tomb Kings do have a lot of those, like, tombs. But they have quite a few. I'm actually very pleased with how many landmarks the Chaos Dwarfs have, and while the vast majority of them are located in the Darklands, I am very pleased that there are some pretty nice buildings, you know, scattered around the rest of the world. So in any event, that is going to pretty much conclude this. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. I have one last race to check with, don't I, for Bitter Bay, because the High Elves have something new there. So I will be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So Anural's Tomb, for whatever reason, is the only landmark in the game that's just broken. It does not like to show off in the landmark thing. So I had to go conquer it with Imric real quick. But here is what it does. It's actually a very, very nice High Elf building. Imric players, eat your heart out. This is a great landmark. 4 influence per turn, just for free. Plus 20 diplomacy with all High Elves and plus 5% campaign movement range. Pretty awesome. So that is exclusive to the High Elves and the Chaos Dwarfs, that particular building. So yeah, there is actually one other thing. I know I keep saying like, oh, that's the last thing, but I actually have found another thing that I will show you. So stay tuned for just a moment. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the final, I swear this time, landmark building, which is this, Karoom, which is fascinatingly only for the Chaos Dwarfs and the Ogre Kingdoms. I feel like it should have Grand Cathay as well, because its whole thing is about like convoys using this as a place to establish goods. But for the ogres, it is actually a pretty fantastic building just because of the rating, if nothing else. So it makes it where you get 50% additional income from trade tariffs and 15% additional income from rating. But hey, another unique building for the ogres, and it's actually extremely close to when you start as Greasus Goldtooth on Immortal Empires. You literally just capture the Valley of Horns, and then boom, you're there. But anyway, that is going to end our examination of all of the different places, all the different little unique structures. So hopefully you all enjoyed it, and there was a lot of really cool things to be found. Hopefully we get lots more awesome landmarks in the future. Like, I really want to see a landmark of revolving around the Great Maw, the Maw Gate. You know, it'd be great to see more of them just, you know, just pop up all over the place. Hopefully when we get Yetis, we'll get something at Yeti Peak, and they'll just continue to add things where they can. So thank you all very much for watching. I hope you all had an enjoyable time. I'm sitting here like racking my brain because I'm like, isn't there like a building that refers to the Titans around here? But I'm not seeing it, so now I'm wondering if I'm crazy. But in any event, thank you all again for watching. This is going to be me heading out, and please take care, and I will see you when I see you. Bye-bye.